Hello, and welcome to another episode of Honest Conversations with Charlotte Dixon from Charlotte Dixon Consulting. Today, I am joined by the brilliant Paul Dornan. Paul, thank you for coming on. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into the nitty gritty of the human side of AI?
Yeah, sure. Lovely to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I'm a screenwriter of old. I have a career in TV and film as a screenwriter, and then I've written a novel. And being a creative person for the last years and years and years of my career. And then latterly, the last few years, I found myself being pulled into the world of business speaking because someone asked me to help them make a boring speech less boring, and I enjoyed that immensely, and it was good fun. And I kind of got into helping people with storytelling and leaders and speakers, keynote speakers, because so many of them kind of feel that a speech is a download of data, and actually the most successful speeches are when humans stand up in front of humans and tell stories that mean something to those humans. So that's what a great speech is, and I've been helping people tell those stories. And latterly, I've started working with a friend and colleague of mine, Andreas Luizu, on a new thing which we call True Human Advantage, which is kind of a response to the AI world. But from a creative standpoint, we're not at all tech people, and we wouldn't want to talk about the tech. But what we talk about is the human impact and the human challenge, and actually the human opportunity of AI, and how AI, in what it does so well that some
Yeah.
firms are running towards with open arms, it presents an opportunity to go and do other things, because there's no point having AI and then doing the barking yourself, So what we're saying is get AI in, use it for lots of the boring stuff, use it for all the repetitive tasks, use it for some of the things that we've never really wanted to do, like doing the accounts, and free up some time as a result, rather than using that time to get rid of people, to redeploy those people, to have more time to connect more with your clients, with your colleagues, with your market, with the world, and get an advantage out of AI that's not just a bottom line advantage, but is a long term advantage of true human connection, and how AI is actually for the people who use it wisely and critically, a huge opportunity to be more human rather than less.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And we had a bit of a conversation previously about who is AI? And I thought that was a really interesting question you posed because often, I mean, like I've mentioned, I run digital mindset workshops, and we think about like what is it, and like
Mm,
how do we manage this
mm.
in business as leaders, as teams, or whatever. But who is this? That is another. It's almost a more philosophical question. I wondered
Yes.
if you could talk a bit more on that.
Well, I mean, I think what we got to with that is I was just talking about my relationship with AI, in a sense, is my experience of it, and I use it like I say, not all the time, but as a creative person, my experience of AI. And everyone, I think AI, it's the sort of thing that everyone's going to have a different experience of it, because it depends on how much time you give it and how much commitment you give it and how detailed your instructions are, an example. And people are building relationships, slightly weird relationships with AI sometimes, where they've ended up treating them like their boyfriend or girlfriend, or their father confessor and everything, or their psychotherapist, which I think is where it goes slightly off key. But I think AI it's interesting, isn't it? My experience of AI is, even when I've got an AI that I've personalized, that I've given specific instructions to, that I use for creative tasks, not to write anything, but to sort of, I have an idea, I have a lot of ideas, and I put it in and say, is there anything like that in the market, say, and that's very very good at that, because it's great at language comparisons. It's what it's built on. It understands when those word combinations that you've used in your idea have been used by other people. So it goes and looks throughout the world, and you can find fantastic. Oh yeah, someone else has done something a bit like that, but not like this bit of your idea. And that's what I love using it for. What's interesting is, at the end of it, despite my very clear instructions to the contrary, it always eagerly comes up to you, like my dog sitting at my feet, like my dog when he was a puppy, eagerly comes up to me saying, "Can we do? Can I do more for you? Okay, so that bit I've just let me turn it into a 10-page slide deck. No. Let me start writing it. I'll do the dialogue for you. I will. So it's like, it reminds me, years ago I worked at a company called Tiger Aspect. And I had a corner office. I was doing some projects for the big production company that belonged to Rowan Atkinson and everything. Did lots of TV comedy. And I was sitting there writing my film one day, and this eager-faced young intern came up to me, and was going, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I said, I'm writing a film." And he said, "What's it about? What's it about?" And I said, "Well, it's about this, that." He kept asking me loads of questions. In the end, I got a bit tired of him, shooed him away. And then I went out to lunch, and I came back from lunch, and I found the same intern at my computer looking through my idea. And I told him to bugger off and everything. And that intern was Michael McIntyre.
No way!
Yeah, young Michael McIntyre. And he obviously was a kind of a comedy nerd and was desperate to find out stuff. And my AI reminds me a little bit of young Michael McIntyre, the keen intern. Who just will not take no for an answer. He just always wants to do. I mean, Michael McIntyre said, "Come and sit. You sit and write it." Would have done it, happily. And so my AI reminds me of that. It just won't take no for an answer. It wants to do everything for you, even though it's not particularly capable of it. Because one of the things I've discovered in my world is AI's strength is not writing human dialogue yet. It doesn't catch the nuances very well, especially not jokes. It's not that great on jokes unless you want dad jokes. So yeah, I think of AI as a kind of keen intern who just wants to take over the company, basically, and will if you let them. It's
I think that's
the danger. And I think the important thing with AI is that you have to remember, as much as your IT department tries to tell you that you're not, you are always in control, and this thing is not going to take over unless you let it. It's up to you to scale AI, to introduce AI, to find the way of making AI work with you and your workforce in a way that's compatible with your company culture, with the things that you do well as a group, the things that your team are brilliant at, the things that they feel comfortable with. You've got to do that with AI rather than sort of seeing it as a one option press button and you get an implementation that's like one thing that's horrifying to most people. So I think
absolutely.
The thing to remember as a leader, it's your job to lead. It's your job to control the puppy, and train it and make sure that it's working for you in your existing family, as it were. Make the puppy live with you rather than you live with the puppy.